Yeah! What's going on? This is Gearboxxx Rox. So what we're going to be doing today is a true fire demo. Oh wait, we haven't seen that before. But what we're going to actually be doing is all in water-based paint. So all you urethane guys out there, trust me, me being one of them, I use both urethanes and water-based paints. But for urethane guys out there, I just want you to be able to like say, hey, okay, true fire can be done with water-based paint too. What I want to do is just kind of a rough smash and dash, guerrilla hardcore style underground version of this little demo right here that we're going to be doing on this panel, which has been scubbed with a red Scotch Brite pad and based with Iwata W400 trail paint with about maybe a 60-40 reduction with the Wicked Jet Black and the Wicked Reducer. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first step what we're going to be doing is actually doing a pink underlay. For any of those who basically painted their house red, such as I have, or not the house, but the inside, like perhaps maybe your bedroom, we're going to be doing a pinkish underlay. So what we're going to be doing is mixing the Wicked Red with the Wicked White, which this is actually transparent base, but let's go ahead and grab one out of here. Here we go, Wicked Opaque White. So we're going to just pretty much mix it right in here. I don't know about any certain particular ratio, but pretty much you don't want to get it too pink, but you don't want it quite on the red, totally red either. So it's more or less you just kind of have to feel it out. So we're gonna dip it right in there. That seems like it might be pretty good. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of reducer. Loosen this puppy up. And this is pretty full. That's okay though, because we're going to be using a lot of this. We're really going to be hosing it down. A lot of the biggest problems that I see with people doing true fire for the first time is that they really skimp out at the beginning. Definitely don't do that. You definitely want to hose it down. Make sure you get a really good, big solid area, nice and filled, because this is your background. This is going to be a lot of the filler, the red deep glow it's basically on the outside of the flame. So you'll see as we do the first step here. So let's check out the color. Okay, great. That's actually about what you want right there. That is not too shabby. That is a really good underlay. The white, basically what it's doing is giving you a sort of like you're almost like giving it sort of a primer. So the white being pretty damn low, I'm using a opaque white. So by nature, it's going to give us a little bit more coverage over this black. And here we go. Again, right now I'm using the Iwata HPTH. Personally, I think this is the most underrated, underused airbrush out there. It's got the trigger, feature to it. You still got the Mac valve. It's got a really pretty good amount of paint on top you can hold with the upper little reservoir here. You can also switch from a dot to a fan pattern. Here's pretty much what this looks like when you want to go into the fan option, and it really gives you a nice good even spread. It really does. So again, this gives you some really awesome coverage. When laying this down, you also want to make sure that, well, basically you want to get into the mindset of fire and pretty much just kind of go, all right, well, the biggest problem that I see with a lot of beginners is that, you want to give it a concentration point. In 3D, when I was going to Noman School of Visual Effects for 3D CGI animation, we would do these sort of like particle effects or flame and fire effects. Well, we would attach these sort of node-based objects to these things, to whatever object you wanted to emit out of. Well, they're called emitters. This is going to be your emitter point where the fire is going to be emitting from. Anything that's going to be coming further away from the emitter point, which is right here where the center of the fire is going to start to decay out. So you're not going to have it equally as hot up here as you are down here. This is going to be your focal point. And with each brush stroke you lay down, you kind of want to go with that thought process in mind. Now you can go ahead and add a couple little snap crackle pops up here. Some little fire embers. So I like to use my hands for stuff. Kind I probably won't even be using any template action here, but really I'm gonna just kind of hose this puppy up. So we're gonna get this kind of swooping up effect. And again, it's just, we're gonna really want to just lay it down. Again, the gun that I'm using is an HPTH. It is amazing. I mean, just from the way I paint traditionally with brushes, I actually use the fan feature with maybe the red oxide or raw umber, really washed down. And I also, and I would have it tilted at a 45 or straight at a 90. And I would actually start sketching like demons, creatures, or faces with it on just a regular white canvas. Using it not so much almost like an airbrush, but even more like a brush type of sculpting tool. Really cool effect. Again, you really want to hose it towards the center. Start to have it decay as it comes out. Now I might even want to go in here and use some of my boxed up templates. These have been through the ringer for sure. But I won't go in too hot. Notice I'll use a couple of fingers distances. Just kind of overlapping them like that. And having that basically distance my TrueFire template from the surface right here. I don't want a really crisp line yet. I'm gonna want to do that only when I'm going in really hot with the orange and the yellow. I'm starting to get some really cool shape there. You want to make sure that you're always keeping the flow going on. Again, still keeping a distance from the actual surface, not going all the way close. That's pretty good. That pretty much right there will be our first step. Next, what we're going to be doing is cleaning this out, again using the HPTH, and getting the Wicked Red and the reducer, also with a little bit of transparent base to serve as like a candy. We're almost going to be doing like more or less of a wash. So anything that goes over the black will not be seen as much. Anything that goes over the pink will definitely pick up and give us almost like a candy type of layered effect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is get our Wicked Red, still using the HPTH. We're not going to fill it up that much. Again, this is going to be more of a wash, so we're going to put a little bit of transparent base in here. Now the transparent base basically, say for instance you over-reduce your paint and it's just running a little bit too thin. The transparent base, basically what it does is it almost renormalizes it. So it adds the body back. So it's basically binder without the color is what it is. So we want to be able to have a bit of transparency to this, so add some transparent base. On top of that, let's throw some reducer in there. So again, this is pretty much 60%, actually 70% transparent, 6% reducer, 30% color, and a little bit of transparent base. That's pretty good. And again, this is a urethane, so you want to be able to go light layers. Multiple layers, very light. You don't want it to start like, really beating up on you, which is, it's one of those things where you just gotta know how to work with it. It takes a little bit more patience. It doesn't dry as quick as the solvent-based paints. But again, there's nothing you can't do with water-based that you can do with solvent-based paint. rolling it on here. You can see that over the black it's not showing up too much, but right over that pink is giving me a nice solid red color. And that's what you want. Light and then layers. Okay, same thing with this layering process. Basically, you can see when we went in here with the wash, we just basically simulated a candy layer with the transparent base, reducer, and the wicked red. So now what we're going to be doing is, again, using the wicked orange, which is the W04, and the wicked white. We're going to be making a very sort of light peachish kind of orange. And again, it's like, this is giving us the opacity. We don't want to go white because we still want to get into the orange color range, so we're going to go with a really light, medium to light orange. My ratio for this is 50-50. When you're doing the underlay tones, it's 50-50. So it's 50 white and 50 of whatever color that is that you're using. Of course, throw in a little bit of reducer to loosen it up. Nothing too much. Shake that bad boy up. This is what we have thus far. This is really, really light. So I don't think I want to go that light, so I think I'll knock it down a little bit more with the wicked orange. Dump a little bit of that out. Put some more of the wicked orange in until we start achieving our desired color. That should do the trick. Give that bad boy a good shake. That's a little bit better. We're starting to get into the range of what we want. Once again, you won't always nail it the first time. Actually, that's pretty good. That's pretty good right there. So I think we're going to go with that and start getting into a little bit more tight areas here. Now using more of our True Fire stencil. Again, we're going to start hitting it in the emitter point. We're basically going to be using the orange to keep within the red parameter. You don't want to go outside of it. Remember, this is going to be your emitter point right here. Anything that's really, really hot will never go out of the color that is going to come next to it. This is feeling a little bit grainy, so what I'm going to be doing is adding a little bit more of the wicked reducer. After a while, you can start to feel and hear the vibration of how thick or thin your paint is. And keep that nice rolling feel going on. Nice local fire, hammers going on. That's why it's really cool to use the inner convex of that stencil. Again, making sure that our emitter point is pretty focused in. Very careful not to go outside. Even throw a couple little sparks in there, give it a little bit of character. And again, same thing, we're going to go in here and pretty much just kind of cover everything that we're doing with the candy layer. And even a little side information, pretty much, if any of you are familiar with Photoshop, you know, candy layers traditionally almost translate into like multiplied layers in Photoshop. Say if I were to do this digitally, what I would do is I would open up a Photoshop document with a black background and do a sort of loose pink, you know, sort of brush effect with maybe like maybe one of Photoshop smooth brushes or something like that to that extent. You can even do that in Painter too. And then I would go in there with using a multiply layer. I would be using a solid red color. Now I could almost even paint bucket that whole, you know, layer in Photoshop over the pink. Everything that would be on the black would disappear. All that red on the multiply layer that is stacked over the pink loose layer, like how we did here, all that pink would only capture the red and thus juicing it up. So the same sort of effect applies. Cool. Alright, so I think that's pretty good for this step, so now we're going to do the candy layer. Okay, so for this step, what we're going to be doing is using the candy pigment orange. And this is the auto air colors, by the way. So what we're going to do, instead of using the 100 Wicked Reducer, with the auto air colors, I like to use the auto air colors 4011 Reducer. So this just kind of overall works a little bit better with it. And again, you want to go light and in layers. And again, if you're using a HVLP sprayer for this, you would want to be extra careful because it is really easy to bead some of this paint up. So you want to make sure you go on a little bit. You know, you want to make sure you're just careful with it and really patient, and you know, go on really light and layers. That's the key, light and layers. And again, just using really soft dagger strokes. Like I'm almost trying to taper it at each end, but very far. So it's only giving me a nice, good center range here of coverage. So this is where we're at this point. So again, you know, white whatever color layer, then the candy. White whatever color layer, then the candy. White whatever color layer, then the candy. So this is pretty much the basic layering process of how we get to achieve this effect. So we're going to go ahead and wash that out. Alright. That's pretty good. So now, what we're going to be doing is getting the Wicked Golden Yellow, which is 011, W011, and doing the 60-40. 60 yellow, 40% Wicked White. Gives that nice good underlay, so we're going to get a good, almost like a canary kind of yellow out of this. And again, some reducer. Just a little bit. Maybe anywhere between like about 10 to 20%. Give that a good shake. That's almost still pretty yellow, so we want to go a little bit lighter than that, so we'll go ahead and dump that out. again, it's hit or miss. You get it right on the first time, hey, kudos. But if not, please. You know, nobody's perfect, so it's always kind of a little back and forth game of just seeing, you know, what kind of color you're gonna get. That's looking pretty damn good. So I think something around there. That's a little bit more like it. And again, getting in a little bit tighter. Now going in there really, really tight. And actually, you know what? At this point, I'm gonna actually ditch my TH. Sorry, dude. And actually go in with my Micron. Now, the Micron, that's completely on the other spectrum of the airbrushes. Custom Micron C, I mean, it's seriously worth every penny. You can literally get eyelash thin detail with this thing, with both urethane and with water-based paint. So. Now, with the Micron, I'm going to want to actually reduce this just a little bit more. Since it's a very thin fluid nozzle and needle in there, it's always good to have it just a little slightly more reduced. The TH can handle a pretty thick style of paint, but the Micron, you want to be able to thin it down just a little bit more so. One thing I like to do is wad up a piece of, you gotta do this with a sponge or a paper towel, wad it up really tight, stick your needle in there, and just very carefully move it from side to side. You want to make sure you don't bend your needle. You see I've been taking off some of the tip dry there. If you do have some buildup, it will affect, especially in a Micron, the ability to smoothly execute very, very small dagger stroke lines. Again, keeping really tight with our emitter point right here. And with doing the yellow, we definitely don't want to go outside of the barrier of the orange. Oh, the lighting on this is almost going to look like this flame skull is getting hit from the upper right-hand side, which is going to make it kind of cool effect. Give it the illusion like it's got some sort of 3D-atized depth to it. See if I could zoom in there to give you guys a better look on what I'm doing. I mean, just see the type of microscopic detail that I'm working in here. And using really thin, tiny dagger strokes. I could probably even go in here and really just get ridiculously insane with it and start going in with some of the Harold Mendez bone texture. And actually, let's see, alright, maybe not those, but you know what, we'll go ahead and use the bubble effects. That'll be pretty neat. We'll go ahead and throw some of that. Ah, that's looking really sweet. Now it's you know, we were going from just a true fire demo, now it's going into a whole other, you know, like I said, with me, you never know what you're going to get. Now, this is kind of cool. We got this really, notice I used the bigger part of the template here around this ridge, and where it starts to get thinner, the thinner parts of the bubble master effect start to get smaller, giving it the illusion like it's getting big and then tightening up and flickering off. So that's kind of a cool little effect that we just kind of stumbled upon. Variation right here. Some pieces are just kind of burning off. You know, we're not going to really get to this area right here. We're just going to kind of leave that. We want to make this really hot to also give the illusion like there's lighting. Okay, I think we're almost about ready to go in here with our candy. So for you urethane guys that, you know, complain about, oh, you know, can't pull a thin line with, you know, water-based paint. Well, you know what? Here's a piece of tissue and you can cry all about it. So, yes, you can pull thin lines with water-based paint. Sorry, but just the facts. Texture going on, just kind of switch it up a little bit. These things are just, I mean, I always, you know, when I got the Bubble Master, I didn't use it for, well, I want to use it to do bubbles. I mean, I got plenty of ways to do bubbles, but I think this is definitely one of them. But I am always looking at what else it can offer me. I mean, this could be some really cool alien skin. Hell, you can even do, you know, different variations of like the Harold Mendez style, like nebulas, space scenes and stuff, I'm sure. And again, another cool way to use it is just kind of go with the, like I say, you're almost using this to give the airbrush a painterly type of effect. So you can kind of see these little brush strokes going on right here, or at least the illusion of brush strokes. Hit it down here real quick. Oh, Cool, so now that this is done, what we're going to be doing is going in through with the candy pigment sunset, and then last but not least, we'll start really popping in with a little bit of the candy pigment yellow. So we'll go ahead and get those steps going. Alright, so here we're going to go with the candy pigment auto air colors, and this is the candy pigment sunset, again using the 4011 reducer. Alright, now this is starting to really juice up here. I think I'm going to probably even lighten up a little bit what's in my micron and do that lighter pass with the candy yellow. Okay, we'll go back to my custom CM. This is the color that's in there right now. We'll go ahead and start lightening that up just a little bit. Texture in there. As I'm doing this, I'm pretty much taking into consideration again that my light is focused and coming from this side. Normally, this being a True Fire demo, my emitter point is coming from here, but for, I guess, the sake of implementing the skull into the demo, I'm sculpting it and lighting it with the conditions of the lighting in the upper right. So just kind of take that into consideration for the demo. So again, I just kind of wanted to have fun with it and kind of see where it would go, but this is pretty much what we got so far. The slide slice yellow and the light slice candy yellow. This is just going to basically put it right along here where we want. So yeah, that's looking pretty juicy. You don't want to go too crazy, just want to, you know, hint it in there. The outer parts, go ahead and chug it on a little bit more, since that's not the hottest areas. The hottest areas are the ones that are centered and concentrated. I should be wearing a mask. Oh wait, it's water-based. You're gonna get that much less cancer. No, guys, always a good idea to wear your mask. I'm gonna kind of zoom in. Again, right here with our emitter point. Getting nice and concentrated. You see that outer red glow out there? We're really just chugged it on. It's really starting to make sense now. I know at first it's really hard to just kind of let go and get loose and really just chug it on there, but you can see what it's doing for us now. Got those nice tight little sparkles going on. Again, all water-based. Everything's just kind of nicely tuned in. Looking really smooth. This is pretty much the effect that you can get. So if you can, feel free. Hit me up with any questions. You can find me Facebook.com/Gearboxxx Rox. That's GearboxxX. Or you can go to www.GearboxxRox.com. Little side note, my website is definitely getting overhauled, so we'll be looking forward to some really cool new flash animations, and definitely a little bit more user-friendly on this one. So we'll also be adding a mobile site too, so any of you guys who have a smartphone can definitely get down and start using our mobile app website. Alright, so I think that about wraps it up. So thank you for coming along and joining us for this little water-based Wicked Air True Fire demo. See you next time.